Shamans, we understand, cause we are the Tech Shamans. Dude, I got this cool thing to show you. Really, man? Yeah, it's far out and technical and stuff. Alright, so, yeah. Come on and turn it on. Tune into the Tech Shamans. Come on and turn it on. Tune into the Tech Shamans. Come on and turn it on. Tune into the Tech Shamans. Come on and turn it on. Tune into the Tech Shamans. Cool.
Hey, good morning, everybody.
Morning.
I know that came out of nowhere. Holy
Whoa, what
crap.
the heck?
Welcome back to another Tech Shaman. Sorry we missed you guys last week, but every now and then the Tech Shamans need to take some time off. So we got a lot to talk about today. I feel like very calm today. Just
Zen.
right. Got a lot going on here at the
It's
studio.
the incense, you know,
I
the
wish
candles.
we should do that. We should one day just have incense in here. And
Oh my gosh.
There
watch
we
all
go.
our
Now
computers
we're
melt
talking.
down and start overheating because of junk. But anyway,
smell.
welcome to Tech Shamans. We have a lot to talk about today, and the first thing we're gonna come right out of the gate. Facebook
Oh, yeah.
is being sued by the IRS for $9 billion in unpaid taxes.
That's a drop in a bucket.
I think
Yeah.
so. I think it is. I think what happened was they underestimated their assets, right?
Well, what they did was they sold their assets to an Irish company that they own, okay? And so therefore, and they completely undervalued them. So in the sale, they didn't have to pay taxes on the gains because they hid the gains. And so when they tracked that all around, they went, ho, 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 ho. You know, that's like selling, you know, your car for $1.
Yeah.
Okay, to your brother, and that's fine if the car is valued like $400 or $500. But if the car that you bought for $400 or $500, you then refurbished it, and it's now worth $900,000 because it happens to be like the original Batmobile or something.
Right.
Okay, and so you refurbish it, and then you sell it to your brother for $1.
And then you buy it back.
Yeah.
You buy it back, or it's gifted back to you.
You
can have it back now.
So that's really what they did is they tried to scam the American people, and they got busted. That's what it boils down to.
Well,
And, and wasn't that, I believe that was done before they went public, didn't they?
It may have been part of the, well, they would have had to, because once you go public, your shares are valued.
Yeah.
That's it. Okay, so yeah, but the fact is they got busted. And no, you really kind of owe that money to the American people. So nice to see.
Well,
and it's only
you know,
$9 billion.
Everybody gets
they'll
the
make that in a
whole.
day.
Everybody gets the whole. "Oh, I'm getting a refund back at the end of the year." No, you're just overpaid all year, and you're getting your money back.
Yeah. Well, for some people, you can
First of
actually
all-
get more than your money back.
Right, and then and here's
Yeah.
the thing. Everything in this country is not government funded; it's taxpayer funded. So think about that. It's every time
Yeah.
I hear that, and I know we're not supposed to be political, but every time I see that, it's government funded. No, it's not. It's taxpayer funded.
taxpayer
It's our
funded.
money that
Yeah.
funds all this crap. But anyway,
Yeah.
so I mean, you're right. A $9 billion. I know that sounds like a crap. In my world, it counts a crap load of money, but in Facebook world, that's like
In Facebook world, it's nothing. In the federal government, with a $4 trillion budget and a $2 trillion deficit, okay, it is actually just a pee hole in the snow.
yeah.
But you know what? It'll pay for somebody's campaign.
Ooh.
Wow.
Well, it's not Bloomberg because he has his own money
This week.
this week. So you were telling us something before we came on here, Adam, about Windows 10.
Oh, Windows 10.
I mean, because we all just love Windows 10.
Well, Microsoft's making, they have a Windows 10 X version. Yeah, 10X.
We have
basically,
Tulio on the set this morning.
basically, it's a Windows operating system made for dual screen devices. And
Wait a minute, I thought
Yeah.
I thought everything was a dual screen.
well, it's more like foldable type laptops and things like that, where the bottom screen, like some of them have the keyboard at the bottom as it's a screen and stuff.
Yes.
So the operating system, they're saying that it's going to take less than 90 seconds for the operating system to do updates. So what's going to really be happening is not the fact that it's really doing an update, but it's downloading an image of the next stable version that's already patched and updated and stuff. And what it's going to do is when it says, hey, it's time to reboot, your device will reboot, and when it does, it reboots into the new image.
Okay.
So it's going to be like the operating system is going to be its own container, its own section, while your user files and everything like that, drivers and stuff are all stored in a different area. So they can quickly just upgrade the operating system very quickly as a new image, and those files and links are all right there, and it just...
Isn't that how Apple works
does.
now? Yeah, with the partition,
Yes, yes.
sections, and so wow. So Microfloss is
Microfloss?
Microfloss
Microfloss is more like it.
Thank God
Always
we can
digging
edit
in your
this out.
business.
It's not live.
Microfloss.
So basically, 10X is pretty much like the iPhone 10X. Now that we have the 11, Microsoft has come out with the 10X.
That's right.
Okay, there you go.
That's too
Windows 10X, the revenge of Windows.
Which I will point out, X means 10, so it's
Yeah.
kind of redundant. It's the Microsoft 1010.
Microsoft 1010.
1010.
So
Not
they're
even the same
1,010 years.
Now
behind
it's
the time.
Microsoft 20.
Now, so that won't affect big computers or anything like that.
No, not really. No, I mean they may take that technology to the regular Windows 10, but as of right now, this is just for Windows 10X.
Okay. So, all right.
See what happens.
All right. We have a story. I'm gonna jump ahead since we were talking
Okay.
about that anyway. Speaking of Microsoft, Apple is considering allowing apps like Chrome and Gmail to be set as iOS defaults. Now I know we're all Mac users and iPhone users. We used to be heavily made of a Mac people until we got in the streaming world, and unfortunately, Mac does not stream well. It
not
doesn't
real
like
nice.
multiple input sources. It likes to one single input source would always work. So now that if Apple is going to consider third-party apps to become truly default programs, I mean, is it really going to let you? I mean, I know you can choose, like if in Safari, if you get back into Safari, you can go in there and say, well, I want my search engine to actually be Google.
Right.
Right. Yeah.
So now it's
Which
saying
it is anyway, but yeah.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, by default. But yeah, you could change it to Bing and not find anything. But oops, did I
Or
say
the
that
new
out loud?
Edge.
That's what I
Even
said.
Edge is like, yeah, use Google. We'll just be the front.
Yeah, but the issue you have is then compatibility, and cross-platform sharing. Because I know when I go in my iPhone and I'm like, oh God, I was looking at this page back on my on my iMac, okay, or my MacBook Air, and so I'm like, what page was it? I can just go pull up my browser in the other device from my other device. So they're all cross-platformed. It's a beautiful thing about having the unified structure. I can't go into my Chrome app on my phone and pull up what I'm looking at as a Chrome app. I say that maybe Chrome will allow that kind of thing, but I doubt it's going to be anywhere near as seamless. And so there will be sacrifices involved in doing that. But are these services that everybody's using?
Well, it looks to me like it's all coming, and we have we show you guys the articles that we're pulling this stuff into. Is the EU was preparing to launch an antitrust investigation over Spotify's complaint that Apple unfairly pushes consumers towards its own music streaming service. Well, duh.
Their hardware, their software, their platform.
Right, it's their
Yeah, it's
platform.
their store.
I love the
software.
Secret Service look, by the way. I am so digging the
I
Secret
am
Service look.
so nervous being
I'm
over
a little
here.
scared.
I'm-
Do you have a
yeah.
mic and a mic flag? No, I'm just kidding. Anyway.
Yeah, that's right.
But if I own the platform, which is I own my own, and I had my own apps and my own music service, of course I'm going to push people to my stuff.
I mean, and
This is not government run kumbaya. I've got to pull some of the green out of my shot, please, Rob. But you can't. It doesn't make any sense why someone would go. Spotify's like, well, that's just not fair. I want my stuff pushed out too.
Well, there you go. Build your own
build
phone.
your own phone, build your own platform, and good luck.
I mean,
Well, it's not like the app's not there. If people want to click on it, they click on it and they
do it all
stream
the
it.
time.
I mean, that's simple.
I do get upset because when I get in the car and I've been listening to Spotify or something, occasionally when it Bluetooths in, it'll override and jump over to the Apple Music app, which I don't actually use. I use Spotify. And it'll jump to that automatically, and it just keeps playing the same. I've had to go through and delete an enormous number of songs off my phone because it would just default to the next one, and every time I got in the car, it would just play that same song over and over and over again. And I'm sorry, I love the soundtrack from Hellboy, but hearing Abe Sapien every time I turn on my car gets a little crazy. Okay?
I think it'd be kind of cool.
So yeah, there are some issues with that on a personal level, but that's not the same thing as saying, hey, I demand that you give me equal representation on your platform because I'm not paying you anything for that, and you're actually defraying the cost of your platform by doing this.
Right.
You're making it more affordable for everyone by doing this, like having ads on, your own website for your own products. Is that what's next? I'm making music, okay, and so I've got all my stuff on my website. Is Spotify going to complain that I'm not advertising for Spotify on my website now?
Right.
What?
It's like poor me, Snowflake. I'm sorry.
Yep.
I don't know. I just, does Spotify make money off of, or does Apple make money off of allowing Spotify to be on their platform?
No.
You want more push?
Pay him something.
Pay Apple. Pay Apple. Say, hey,
pay for
look,
it.
Apple. Here's some extra moolah. Can you guys kind of put us up on the top rankings?
Because they're offering in-app purchase, is it not? Or that's just a front for a subscription that you would have had.
Right,
on
and
their
now if
website.
you get, is it Hulu? If you get Hulu, you get Spotify.
Maybe.
I know there's things out there. I'm not saying there's so many.
Yeah,
different
they're all
offers out there.
cross-platform marketing.
It's so to me, it's like Hulu or Spotify. Grow up.
I think
I don't use Spotify.
Yeah, I love it.
I don't even have an account, and I think I have access to it. Yeah, I like Apple Music because I go and tell it what I want to hear and what I want to play. Plus, I have my
Which I
own.
do with Spotify.
If you have Apple Music, my Apple Music references my iTunes library,
Right.
Why did we
which
stop
is like
talking about Pandora?
55,000.
Why did we stop talking about Pandora? Pandora started most
Because
of
it's a ride at Disney? No.
No.
She is not a ride. Stop saying that about her. I don't. Pandora. I haven't heard that name in a while.
I know.
But remember, I mean, that was always really cool. Back in the day,
it was, man.
You started off with your one music
Nope.
that you wanted to listen to, and then all of a sudden, your whole playlist was magically in that same realm, that same beat, that rhythm, that whole thing. And it was always, and it works.
We had friends. We had friends that own a nerd bar, and they had their own Pandora playlist.
Yeah.
And it was all the songs from sci-fi movies.
Right.
You'd walk in, you'd hear Star Wars, Star Trek, Indiana Jones, Harry Potter. I mean, Odyssey 2001.
Yeah.
It's that to me. I walk in going, how long did it take you to put that together? And he goes, oh, it's just Pandora.
Yeah. Spotify does the same thing. That's what I love about it. It will analyze what I listen to most often,
Right.
and then give me a playlist that is, basically algorithmically derived.
I still, I know
Yeah.
iTunes is dead, but I still use iTunes on here, so
Yeah.
it is what it is. All right, so let's move on. I just wanted to jump on it because that was kind of funny. We went from blah 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 blah. So Adam, let's talk about a little thing that I saw there. AMD graphic cards are allegedly overheating because the screws are too loose.
Yeah, somebody screws loose. The cars.
It was right there, waiting to be said.
Ba-dum-bum,
I mean, talk about
Look,
underhanded lob.
Those cards always ran hot to begin with, and not only that, they always their drivers were always unstable. In my opinion, I've never really, when game developers came out with new games and stuff, and they were released, you would always seem to have driver compatibility issues with AMD. You know, lost frame rate, glitches, things like that. They always develop for, you know, NVIDIA first, and, you know, that was kind of the backbone. And then they would, you know, release the game, and next thing you know, tons of patches would come down because, you know, AMD was going, hey, it's not working on our stuff. So, I don't know. I kind of say that the screws being too loose causing it. I doubt that.
But what screws are loose? Is it
There would be the screws that
mounting?
would be, yeah, the mount for the heatsink on the GPU. Most likely is loose, or they're saying it's loose. They probably didn't put enough thermal paste on it or something, or they just have a really bad passive cooling system on it. So they're going to just say the screws are loose and could cause GPU to overheat, because if the cooler isn't tightly pressed against, well, yes, of course, but that's where thermal paste takes up the gaps in the system. But no, I highly doubt that. I could see the screws probably coming loose.
Well,
I remember when
they're
they
talking about
did their
doubling the
mount
torque
screws,
pressure
right.
that you got to put on there in order to get it actually tight enough to work.
Doubling it?
Doubling, yeah.
That's
from,
kind of a scary
From 30 to
thought.
40 psi to
Yeah.
50 to 60 psi
That sounds,
is what it should be.
That sounds great. Yes, let's flex the whole PCB board. You know, pretty soon, you know, you'll have this, like, you'll go to take the heat sink off, and your board will just like rock back and forth because it's already, you know, distorted the whole video card.
God.
So-
I remember they was a year ago, they did the big test when AMD really launched that big monster, and with no processes and just letting it run, it was overheating then.
Yeah, I mean, I love their processors. Don't get me wrong, their processors are great. GPU side, I really don't. I just don't know what it is about their GPUs and what they just can't seem to get right. But they still have a lot of work in the GPU side. Now, a lot of guys use them, you know, for instance, on Macs and stuff. You know, they use them for, you know, graphics work, graphic design. But their gaming cards are just really not something I personally use in my rigs when I build systems.
So you wouldn't.
I don't really say the screws are really the cause of their issue. I think they're just using it as escape. They're probably having a
I don't know.
solder issue.
They had a graphic, okay, a graph that was very convincing.
I think the graph.
The graph
really,
was
yes,
just
the graph.
sold me right there. It's a pretty graphic. I actually had somebody argue with me about a computer-generated image of how they thought the crime might have happened.
Oh,
Okay,
yes.
and they're like, yeah, so I'm just completely convinced. Who do you think prepared that?
Mm-hmm.
The prosecution. Okay, do you think they're going to prepare it so that it doesn't look like the convicted person did it? Or the accused person? Crazy stuff.
All right, so we're gonna come back because we're gonna come back to a topic which is near and dear to your heart, because without this, your graphic card doesn't mean crap.
That's right.
So, but first, we're gonna jump over to branding.
Branding?
Because, yeah,
Well, I thought you
not
said Brandy, and I got really excited there for a minute.
Branded.
Then I realized you were just going to ask me to talk about
So
branding.
let's talk about branding.
Let's talk about branding because,
It's super important today.
well, it's always been super important. But one of the things that I became aware of this week were some incredible statistics on this with regards to digital branding.
Okay.
And people, you know, doing websites and social media and those things. And we think about that stuff and we think we know what it means. But when you boil it down, it really is about appealing to your target audience. And in order to figure out who your target audience is, and I've got a really neat trick I'm going to talk about at the end of this. In order to figure that out, you got to figure out who are your best clients. Who's your ideal client? Who's your ideal customer when they walk in the door? And, you know, based on a whole lot of anecdotal evidence, it's pretty much that about 30% of your customers, if you own a business, about 30% of your customers are your ideal clients.
Really?
Yeah. Somewhere, you know, 60 to 80% of them are going to be accidental clients. People that are there
That high?
because, yeah.
Wow.
Yes, it's crazy. But it's stuff like, well, I guess you're the right person I should be doing business with. Oh, I heard you were the person I should be doing business with. You get a lot of that stuff, and then they get in, and they're not the best customers. They don't stick with you. They're not really in love with you, your business, your brand, your way of doing business, and they walk away.
Right.
And they become headaches and problem children. And we've all had those people who, they're there, they're like, they start to complain about price, they start to complain about, quality, and everything is exactly as it was, and, you got this chunk of clients over here that are actually probably giving you 70 to 80% of your money.
Right.
Okay? Who are, your 30% who are your ideal clients. So the goal is to go after them. And so, now, what's interesting is if you actually look at why those 30% are with you, and then you cross-reference it with your website,
right,
you'll find that, this is crazy, about 98% of websites don't actually convey the message that the business owner thinks that his ideal clients want to hear.
right,
They are not building their messaging into their websites. And of course, we build marketing platforms that do specifically that. But what they're going out there and they've got a brochure website. And the brochure website, oh, this is everything we do. And I can't tell you how many times I've seen that.
Right.
But that's not why people are actually buying from you. There's a specific reason, a specific brand. It could be a pricing strategy.
Right.
That appeals to them. The more affluent people, they don't want to see 99 cents at the end. They don't want to see, $497 for something. They don't want to see that stuff. They need $500. They need $1,000. They need $5,000. That's what they want to see, because that's what serious people buy. On the other hand, if you're down into the Costco, Walmart, Amazon kind of people, then they're looking at pennies and they're like, oh my God, it's 98 cents here, it's 99 cents here. I'm going to buy it from the 98-cent one, even though it has like 3-star rating less than the other guy. They're still going to pay the penny less because that's their motivator. And so, making sure all those things are all in sync with what you're going after. But the biggest problem we have is figuring out what is it that appeals to my target client. We think we know. We talk to them. They tell us. They ask us questions. They tell us what they like. But there are ways you can dig even deeper. Now, there are algorithms out there that will dissect, bisect, trisect your client base.
Right.
And they'll come up with all kinds of psychographics and demographics that they all have in common. But there's another way you as the business owner can actually do this, and this is what I was alluding to earlier, and that is go get your client list. Look at your best customers. Who are they?
right.
And then go on social media and look at them.
Okay.
Look at what they're following. Look at what brands they follow. Look at where they're eating. Look at where they are shopping. Look at where they are checking in. Look at the images they are sharing with their friends. And you will begin to see patterns emerge yourself of what you may have suspected they liked, but this is who your best clients are. And then forget about the other 70%. You're going to get them by accident anyway. That's how you got them in the first place.
Right.
So you're going to still get them. Focus your energy on bringing in, doubling that 30% by making it 60%. Because then the 80% of your money becomes 160% of your money.
Right.
Which is what you really want to do with your advertising and marketing, especially when it comes to the digital world. Because so many people have no idea who you are until they go look it up. Even if you get a name referral, the percentage is incredibly high of the people who will go look you up in social media first. It's like, Adam tells me, go use, Bill's Cable Shop. Okay, I'm going to go and look up Bill's Cable Shop. And if I see Bill's Cable Shop does not hit me from a style, aesthetic standpoint,
Right.
I'm like, thanks, Adam, but no, not my cuppa. So in order for it to click, it really has to be exactly what I want in a business. And then I am 10 times more likely to give them 10 times more business. And those are your ideal clients. So don't be afraid to go after them and to focus on them, because they are worth so much more than the accidental customers.
Cool. Yeah, because you're right. I've actually seen that sometimes that the people that find me, well, I just happen to find you, and I'm like, okay.
Yep.
And Next thing you know,
They float in, they float out.
they're gone.
Yep.
Right.
Yep.
And so the people that, that are like, this is what I wanted to do, this is how I wanted to do it. You were recommended by several people that this is, how to do it, why I want to do it.
Yep, and then I come here and I see this is exactly what I thought it was.
Right.
Okay, this is exactly what I need. I know it. Boom, I'm in. And you're here for years as an ideal customer.
Yep, exactly.
Yeah, and the ideal customers don't just buy the single service up front. There are ways to get them, and you do add-ons, you do bonuses, you give extras, and pretty soon the people that came in, for $1,000 purchase are doing $5,000 purchases regularly from you,
Right.
because you are somebody they know, like, and trust.
And I haven't. So the and always getting the cheapest is not the best.
It depends on what are your priorities.
Expectations.
Okay, rarely does the priorities more than expectations. Okay, because rarely does the cheapest thing last. I mean, we can look at clothing, we can look at cars, we can look at anything.
Yeah.
Okay, computers especially.
Yep.
I mean, when was the last time that $500 PC or the $500 laptop lasted more than 9 months?
Right.
And didn't have this break, this overheat, that problem. It's like as soon as they're off warranty, they're off your desk because they're dead. And so for some people, the lowest price actually is a disincentive to buy it.
Yeah.
Right.
They'll push away on that. So it's someplace you don't want to be. And the 99-cent things and ending the price tags here and there, those are things you just don't want to be doing.
Right. Well, okay. I learned something. Learning something's good.
I learned that. my
Learning
dead
is
cat fell
fundamental.
off.
Did you knock your thing off?
I knocked my dead cat off.
All right, so we're going to jump back over to Mr. Adam here. I think we got him on a, oops. So, memory. I have no memory.
No memory? You have no memory of this?
None. No. First of all, why does the price of memory fluctuate, and why is it getting so freaking pricey?
Well, it fluctuates due to demand and also production and supply and demand. So, some of the major companies that make basically the VNAND, the modules, the chips that either go on SD RAM or even in SSDs and stuff.
Right.
What was it? Western Digital and a couple of companies that make the products.
Samsung.
They had the VNAND makers themselves had some supply issues due to the fact that there's power outages in some of their warehouse and some of their production facilities.
No.
That lasted a few weeks.
Okay.
Back in the second quarter of 2019. And then also in Korea, there was some issues down there too in some of their production facilities. And what has happened is, as the prices of these products had come down, it started, making sense to start upgrading your computers, for instance, to solid state hard drives, adding more RAM. Prices are coming down, we can do more, and people were seeing the benefit of it. Now it's 2020. It's the beginning of the year. You have IT departments that are getting ready to do, upgrades to computer hardware inside businesses and stuff.
Right.
We've already seen they've already had a production problem in 2019 with being able to supply enough VNANDs to keep stuff going. And now there's this huge demand for it. And there's not enough product to cover that demand, so now the prices start increasing. And they're talking about a 40% price increase on solid states, and even possibly, computer memory, by the time 2020's out, which is really disheartening because now with the prices going back up, people are going to rethink, is it going to be economical to upgrade to a solid state and never really see the whole benefit that you can get out of it.
I know a couple years ago, RAM got just cheap.
Yeah.
I mean, I was like, you can buy that for how much? Because I remember when we were building our first production computers and we were back in the Mac world. Mm-hmm. We weren't streaming at that point in time. We were just production. I mean, just a 500 meg RAM stick.
Yeah, I mean, and
cost you something like $200-300.
Yeah, and people
for one.
I know.
Mm-hmm. One.
Now you can get 16 gigs of RAM for under $100.
It just blows my mind how.
It's like sometimes you get like $40-something for.
But here's the worry though that I'm seeing, that is if all this manufacturing for our RAM and our hard drives and stuff like that is all Asia based.
Yes.
That's a problem.
That is a problem. As a matter of fact,
Because because I'm like going, okay, well, so if they get wiped out, what we have in the States is what we have in the States.
okay, and exactly, this is what's happening like right now with the coronavirus situation happening over
Right.
there. Production at the facilities, a lot of
they're telling people to stay home.
They're telling people to stay home. Companies are closing down their doors, shutting down, making sure everybody stays safe and stuff. And what has happened is a lot of people in the IT world, businesses are ordering, we need a new server, we need a new upgrade. We're talking about a 2 to 3 month lead time for Dell to supply their end users with new custom built servers. So, an IT guy goes in, prices out a whole job, and a new server contacts Dell and says, okay, I need this built with these configurations. Dell can't custom build it now. So they have to wait, and they have to custom build it because these are the specs they want. It's not like they have something sitting on a shelf.
So basically, and then it'll become delivered by a Wells Fargo truck or a Wells Fargo carriage.
Yes.
Which is kind of what we're back to now. You're ordering from the Sears catalog, and maybe in a month or two it'll arrive.
Yes.
Wow.
So now they're talking about huge lead times that are really not, in a world like today, they're just not acceptable.
No, and with Moore's laws and the speeds and the memory, doubling every 18 months, that you need, having 3 of those months chopped out, you've now got to start planning, way ahead, buying way ahead.
Exactly.
And that's just going to increase the backlog as more and more people start to try and plan further ahead.
Yeah.
So then it'll turn into 4, 5, 6 months. You've got to start pre-ordering out.
Yeah,
But they'll start trickling down to the basic consumer.
This is going to,
yeah.
this whole thing is going, you're going to see the prices of computers, laptops, and, devices, probably within the next 6 months or so, really start taking a major increasing in pricing. And so, don't expect your, $299 laptop to be around much longer. It's going to be, $399, $499.
Yeah. I mean, I'm a little concerned about what that might do to, obviously the products we use, because for some reason, with all of us always using, we're always in, the market for something new. Now I'm looking at a new MacBook Pro, and I'm not quite ready to pull the trigger on it yet, but that could also, and of course, what's that going to do? Those who have the ability to pull the trigger early are going to buy them and get them, and then there's going to be nothing. So
and when there's a problem, they'll be without because they can't get it fixed.
Right.
That's another issue.
Wow.
Wow.
My
so
worry.
why pull the trigger?
Right.
If the bullets may not work.
Yeah.
So
now there is a whole bunch of stuff that you got to worry about. And then a lot of the guys that are in IT are, reaching out to their competitors and other vendors and saying, hey, do you got any product? I got a job that I'm pricing out, and I'm getting lead times that are just not acceptable right now.
Yep.
Does somebody have something that was already purchased ahead of time, pre-built that they didn't? Didn't sell and didn't deliver and stuff, and seeing what they can do. I mean, that's pretty bad. I mean.
Yeah, and I mean those things happen, but they're the exceptions.
Yeah. Just think about it.
I got a great deal on a sword like that once. But, that was a sword.
False economy. Anyway, that's a movie. Anyway. So I mean, that's worrisome, because if you've got a lot of these guys that are tech, like we're heavy tech, if one of my machines takes a crap, I just can't go around to Best Buy and buy something off the shelf to fix it, because we have specialized gear.
No, you're gonna have to go on eBay and find a used one.
Oh, God have mercy, that's horrible. All right, well,
and pray the parts will convert.
Coronavirus is killing everybody. I read something the other day.
Hurting a lot of people.
Something the other day. The coronavirus has been around for a while. This is not something new.
Yeah.
You can look on the back of Lysol and the Lysol wipes, and the coronavirus is on there. There may be and this may be a different strain, but the coronavirus itself has always been around.
Yeah.
So, I think it's their Chinese way of getting the attention off Hong Kong. That's just my personal
There
opinion.
we go again.
Oh, political.
Politics.
So we're gonna
Conspiracy.
Let's
Now,
think.
I'm just going to be insensitive, and
Are
instead of the
you gonna
coronavirus,
trigger.
I'm hoping for ginfluenza.
Ginfluenza.
Ginfluenza. I drink Guinness. So there you go.
Ginfluenza. Oh, that's awesome. Oh,
Yeah, I got a 6-pack of it in the
I got to
fridge.
figure out how to make a tequila one there. Now my brain's working.
There we go.
But you talked about something else this morning too about was it Apple? Oh, I'll come back to it. Don't worry. Phew, man, getting old.
Yeah. So back to memory.
Back
Back to memory.
So since
Yeah.
we're on the coronavirus,
Yeah.
okay. So now hackers are using the coronavirus to spread computer viruses.
Yep.
Of course.
So people get emails, right?
Yeah.
Saying, do you want to know more about the coronavirus and how it can
Or
affect
there's an
you?"
outbreak in your area. Click here to find out about it. I mean, fear makes people do stupid things,
Yes.
and they're counting on it.
Lord.
So there we go, and then they lock down your computer, and now they're making money off the coronavirus.
Which just, I hate it when
It's
people
insidious, it's disgusting, and it is,
Well, okay, so that's just a 101. When you get something, don't click on it.
Yeah, don't click on
Unless
it.
you've asked
yeah.
for, unless you've reached out to the CDC and said, hey, tell me about this.
If you want to know more about news and what's going on, go to a news website and read it. It is not going to come in your email box. Don't go clicking on weird stuff.
Nope.
Hey, do you want to know more? Click here now. No, come
Yeah.
on. That's
I mean,
just,
look,
it's a
if you're on a
giveaway.
mailing list and this is a legit email from somebody you've subscribed to, that's fine. Okay, those links are coming through reputable sources.
Yes.
One of the quickest ways, a lot of people don't do this,
No.
is when you see who it's from, go click on that name. And then click on it again until you get through and you can actually see the address screen.
Right.
And realize they can put a lot of weird stuff at the front
Yep.
that looks like, customer service at Apple, dot xjggggegg.ia. It's like, whoa, wait a minute. This is not
Yeah,
actually.
the CDC's not emailing everybody in the country.
Yeah,
They're not
from India.
Anybody in the country, actually. So that's just not going to
Yeah.
happen.
Yeah.
All right, so how many, are you a Twitter user?
I've used Twitter.
Are you a Twitter user?
I am aware of it.
I am aware of it. We have accounts, okay. But the one thing that you get tired of is the rants, or the political, or the whole 9 yards. Well, now we are able to mute a single word on Twitter to avoid seeing it into your feed. And it's very, very simple, right? You just long press on the word, and you can mute and pick the word up, and you can actually make it forever.
Yep.
24 hours, 7 days, or 30 days. From whom or from a word, which, in my opinion, that's pretty good.
Yeah.
And you can do it from your timeline, notifications, from someone or people you don't follow. So if you don't follow people and all of a sudden their stuff's hitting your, just get rid of it. Just get rid of it.
And there's good and bad on that one. Okay, it's a way to maintain your sanity, but it's also a way to insulate yourself inside your silo.
Right.
So use it accordingly.
I listen to the voices in my head because most of the time they agree with me. Just saying.
That's the definition of silo.
And we have great conversations.
I bet we do.
Yep. So,
John, we're not real either.
I'm here actually by myself. This is all imaginary.
Well, you're the only one who hears Rob, remember?
Yeah, I know. He really is real. One day we're gonna put a camera back there so everybody can see Rob. It's like Mr. Snerdley on Rush Limbaugh.
There you go. Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
So, and back in the day, a long time ago, when it was Shock Jock, what's his name from New York?
Howard Stern?
Yeah, no, Robin was real with Howard Stern, but Howard Stern would have all these goofy people, and she would make different people and different voices and stuff like that. So, yeah. Anyway,
No,
Rob's real. He is real.
We
right?
love Rob.
He's
Hi,
Rob's a
Rob.
good
He's our
guy.
friend.
So here's something kind of surprising that I'm scratching my head over this.
Okay.
Because I don't understand why. HBO and HBO Max are headed to YouTube TV.
Wait, what?
Yeah. I don't get this.
How is that going to benefit them?
Well, I mean, I guess a lot of,
Pay-per-view.
and Cinemix is also part of the deal. So just let everybody know. To me, I mean, I guess if you, okay, so do you remember when we first started the Tech Shaman Show? I think it was in the beginning, we did a whole price comparison analysis on cutting the cable.
Right.
Whether it's cheaper or not cheaper or blah, blah, blah. Now, if HBO is not going to charge to be a part of YouTube TV, and you are going to pay money to be a part of YouTube TV, I think it's like $9 a month or something like that.
Yeah, it's $9.99.
So that's going to wind up being in your, it's going to be in your lineup. Well, that's great because now I don't have to go purchase HBO Go or HBO Max to be able to watch HBO. I'm just paying YouTube and YouTube because YouTube shadows everybody, overshadows every
And
streaming platform. Period.
You remember, like 2 or 3 weeks ago, we were talking about how all these streaming services will probably be consolidated into packages. And so it'll be like your cable packages you used to get.
Yeah.
And who better to do that than YouTube? They've got the deepest pockets in the world.
Right.
And so they can go ahead, set these things up as a loss leader. They'll put Hulu and you know, whomever else out of business, Roku and all those, and then they'll just become the 900-pound gorilla in the room. They've gained weight since the 800-pound gorilla days. They will be the 900-pound gorilla in the room that nobody can compete with, and so they will become your source for all these things. And there you go. Google does it again.
Okay, so we went down further into the thing, and here it says a part of the new deal, YouTube TV will also distribute Warner Media's HBO Max streaming service when it launches in May. HBO will run for $14.99 a month, and it collects all of HBO's offers as well as movies, TV shows, Warner Media, and then blah blah blah.
Yep.
Lord of the Rings. Yeah. So you're still going to pay. You just get to stay in. So it's kind of like Apple TV.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Apple TV or Apple TV Plus. So if you can get everything under one umbrella.
Yeah.
Or you can go all over the place.
Yeah, the biggest issue that I keep running into is because I don't have cable. I can't get a lot of these things because I can't log in through my cable provider. So if they can short circuit that on a lot of these things, that'll be golden. That'll be worth so much to just short circuit
you're not saving
the need
money
for a
then.
cable provider.
So so you're not going to. It's not like you're going to save money. It's a convenience thing.
Yeah.
So you don't have to. You don't have to be.
Yeah. No, I think the one industry I would not want to be in right now, and I would not put any money into, is cable.
Right.
I think they are going down and going down harder and faster than most people think. And yes, sure, everybody's still got them, and you see them, and you know the ads are still out there, and they're just becoming extraneous. It's like landlines, and they really are the video landline. And we've all kind of leapfrogged that at this point.
Right.
So I don't think, I think this is a natural segue into something. I think if YouTube puts their money behind it, it's going to be something that's going to be very well done and very, seamless. I think it's also then going to become a virtual monopoly. And competing with it is going to be almost impossible, which is going to be a shame, because then there's no real incentive for them to innovate.
Okay, so I was wrong on the price for YouTube TV. It's $49.99 a month.
And what does that include? Yeah, that's not what I'm thinking of.
Yeah. I don't know. But they have 20 million paid premium subscribers.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
All right. Well, you know what? I'll go do some homework on that one.
Yeah. So let's
We'll
talk
talk more
about
about
something fun. I like something fun. This is something everybody needs in their house, I guess.
Yes.
So Disney's avalanche of Baby Yoda merch includes an adorable mini Bluetooth speaker. Now I want to put something fun on our show every now and then. So you have the asset, our Baby Yoda, whatever you want to call it.
The baby.
Now you have it in your house and you can play music. Now to me it doesn't look like it's very big.
However, I will say that
cream.
if you play something really loud for an
Yeah.
extended period of time, it then
Right.
goes to sleep for 48 hours.
That's awesome.
It looks like an ice cream or one of those the Play-Doh spaghetti makers. Where you push
Oh
Yeah,
yeah.
you're pushing hair growth.
Oh my! No! It's a chia pet.
Chia
She is
pet.
gonna
It's
get
a
him.
chia
Awesome.
pet. That's what it is.
Wow.
Baby Yoda Cheetah next. Oh,
Well,
gosh.
this right here, this just goes to show you, even the company that came out with this, they had no idea that this was going to be this big. They didn't. I can't believe they wouldn't have thought that the asset would, or the Baby Yoda would not as big as big. 'Cause that would make an immediate hit. So it's pretty cool. I don't know. I like kind of stuff like that. So last thing that I've got today is Sling. Oh, Sling.
Well, we had Sling. There's Sling.
It's losing subscribers for the first time as streaming competition grows.
Oh boy.
Well,
Okay.
yeah,
It's going to happen. And
Yeah, when you get all these people and they start saturating the market and
Yeah.
everybody and their brother is thing, it's just the way it is. You're going to lose people. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
So, I don't know. It's I don't know. I just, it's competition. You got to make yourself better.
Yeah.
No, they have a ton of A minus, B plus celebrities that are always doing ads for them about Sling TV, and they had the guy from the Parks and Rec that was doing it for a while. And then they had the other girl from I can't hear her name, but maybe they should stop paying them so much money and just put more money into online advertising.
Well,
I mean, they are
they
$30
lost
a month.
They also lost the local sports networks.
Oh, did they?
Yeah. And so, it may have been a cost-benefit ratio, but and you can think of it as like, okay, so we made a sacrifice of one part of our segment because they weren't that great anyway, so subscribers may have gone down. But, like I was talking about with the branding, maybe they're doing better with the ones they have left. They're worth more, they can charge more, they can advertise more, they're better customers. And so therefore they'll be more profitable with fewer customers, and then they can expand out from there again. So it's another potential to look at.
Right. I don't know.
Yep.
Competition's good. It just, if you're not ready
Yep.
for it, it will kick your butt. Just saying. Mm-hmm. So, what's going on? Adam, there was something else. Adam, golly gee willikers. I cannot believe that I can't remember what we were talking about it.
I don't see it.
Yep. Oh, I know what it was. It was a refurbished Macs.
Oh yeah.
Oh yes.
How is
yes.
that possible? A brand new refurbished Mac
So yeah, it was
just come out, refurbished Mac.
Apple's new 16-inch MacBooks are MacBook Pros are showing up as being able to be purchased as refurbished units at a discounted price. It's kind of worrisome. I mean, is this a customer return after 2 weeks, or is
And that
is
may
there
be
a
it.
problem
Yeah.
with them?
Well,
They have some factory.
did people decide it's just not
Factory defects.
not what they need?
Just,
Or did they
But did
get
they-
it? Yeah, didn't like it.
Yeah.
well, not,
So they're in there.
Can't use
Or-
it.
The question is quantity.
or is it the keyboard issue? Come
The
back to haunt them.
keyboard issue? You mean the
Yes.
battery underneath the keyboard? What?
No, the keyboard, the touch on the keyboards. They had a lot of failing keyboards.
Ah.
From,
Ooh,
the
did they really?
15s
See, I
on
don't
up.
I didn't hear
remember
about
that
that.
part.
So,
Yeah.
and I think they may have.
I have
kept that
mine hooked up
design.
to a remote keyboard and remote mouse. So,
So hopefully we're not
Yeah.
seeing
yeah.
a new increase in issues with this new Mac. But I guess we're gonna have to
Yeah.
just wait and see.
You know what I did? It was so funny. I've got, of course, my MacBook Air that I use. And I had the iMac down on my desk in my office. Well, I moved it up to the home office. And so I've got this 32-inch, TV monitor sitting over where my iMac is, because I always work with dual monitors. And I couldn't believe how dense I was. So I went ahead and I put my Apple TV on it, my little unit. So I've got that down there and I can watch that stuff. And then I'm sitting there going, gee, I really wish that I could, plug in the monitor into my MacBook Air.
Right.
And I'm just being dumb at that point because I went, oh my God,
Cast.
mirror.
Cast.
So it's like, boop,
Cast.
and you can do the split screens. You can do whatever it is you want, just as if you were hardwired between the two.
Yep.
However, what I discovered was that it really slows down my Wi-Fi connection when I do it.
Oh, it'll tear it
Oh
up.
my God! I mean, I had it connected, and I went to do the update. Okay, because that MacBook Air had not been updated to Catalina. And so I went to update it to Catalina, and it's calculating, and I hadn't really checked the speed beforehand, and it's calculating, and it's like the download should complete in 14 days.
Wow.
The connection was running at like 0.6 megabits. Okay, download.
Good Lord.
So I turned off the
mirroring.
the mirroring, okay, and it's like went right back up again. It's like, okay, we'll be done in 12 minutes. Thank you. You know,
Yeah.
instead of 12 days. So yeah, it can really bog you down a little bit.
Doesn't your MacBook Air have a little connection out?
It's got 3 USBs, or 2 or 3 USBs, but then it also has a
Lightning port, right?
A lightning port.
The Lightning port that can actually act as
And the newer ones.
Yeah, but I didn't have that cable.
okay.
And
So
the
I
newer
didn't-
ones with the USB-C can have HDMI output on it.
Right. But I don't have a newer one. So,
All
and
right,
again,
so,
like I said,
so I knew I
another
had
piece need
I
to
knew I had
replace.
some other stuff to talk about. Okay, so two of the biggest satellite competitors are thinking about merging. Dish and DirecTV.
Wow.
Wait a sec. See, that's confusing because when the buyout for T-Mobile, when they bought Sprint, the part of the package was Boost Mobile and Virgin Mobile, which is the MVO of
Right,
Sprint, was to go to Dish. I mean, DirecTV. And DirecTV was supposed to take over that cell phone business, or at least the Spectrum. We don't know about the cell phone part.
Well, DirecTV doesn't exist anymore. It's AT&T.
So technically, AT&T is who bought that.
So, yeah, I think AT&T is going to absorb Dish. Now, I've had DirecTV. When it rains, it sucks. I know I have a friend that's
When
got
it rains, it's poor.
But yeah,
There you go.
exactly. Now I got, but it's got Dish. I like their setup better because you can talk to the remote
Right.
and tell it what to do.
The Hopper.
Yeah, the Hopper. You get the
Yeah, the
Hopper?
Hopper.
I got the Hopper.
Got the Hopper.
I parked in the car.
Wow.
That's a ghost car. Anyway, so it looks like to me because everybody's cutting cable and Dish, Dish in quarter 4 2000 lost 100,000 subscribers.
Wow.
Right? So I think they're like, well, we'll just, combine, blah, 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 and we'll just dominate. Well, they're not going to dominate, but it's AT&T getting bigger.
Yep. Good thing we broke them up back in the 80s.
Yeah.
As they have gone back out and just reacquired every property. I mean, it honestly allowed them to get rid of deadweight and focus on what they wanted to bring back.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what they've done. They're bringing back everything, revenue positive. That they can
And
bring
they're
back
getting
into the fold.
getting some spectrum because that whole move also comes with some spectrum when
Yeah.
they grab those
Yeah.
those.
Yep.
It's all about the streaming. Because I tell you, when I had DirecTV and I was like, I'm leaving you guys, blah, 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 blah. They're like, well, why? I'm like, because when it rains, it sucks, and blah, blah, blah. And they're like, well, why don't you just go to the app? Put the app, the first thing they said, do you have a Roku, an Amazon Fire Stick, or an Apple TV? And I'm like, yep. Well, you just put the app on there, and it's the same thing. Mm-hmm. And I mean, really, live TV, the whole 9 yards. I mean, I was using the DirecTV app all the time. They're like, yeah, you might as well, that way, you're not getting charged for boxes and the whole 9 yards. You just got to make sure your internet's strong enough.
Yep.
So I'm like, well, okay. That's in a way, that's kind of cool, and that's what I did for a while. And then I'm thinking to myself, why do I need them? I've got Spectrum. I got their internet because Frontier doesn't want to
Yeah, that's all
carry
you
a
have
cable
out
all
there.
the way to my house. And then the Spectrum app I could watch, and I'm like, I just got rid of them altogether. So one last thing, we got about 2 minutes left, is Google is shifting the authority over UK user data to US in wake of Brexit. So what are they worrying about? The UK is going to say, give us all that information now?
I don't know, because they have to follow the GDPR policy of. This is going to be weird. I don't know how they're going to that particular policy. They're going to have to how they're going to shift it over to the U.S. when that's all has to do with European nations and stuff.
Right, has nothing to do with what's going on over here.
Yeah. So I don't know what they're gonna do with their servers over here unless they're going to start implementing. Or maybe that's the whole reason why they just released that new terms of agreement that they just pushed out on Google. I don't know if you've noticed. You go to google.com and you'll see the new terms of agreement bar across the top. This might be some of the situation that they might be pushing. So I don't know.
Well, I know part of the article says that the USA's privacy protections are comparatively weaker than the European.
Yeah. Right, that's what I'm saying. So I don't understand why they would be wanting to move their clients, over to the U.S. and say, hey, we'll protect you over here, because there's no, unless they're going to enforce those. Something's not right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Something's not right in Denmark.
Yeah. They can come back here and then fight from here.
Good luck
how
with that.
Their data gets used and stored.
Yeah.
But now they're no longer under, British or EU jurisdiction. The data's over there, but what are they going to do?
So can they go get out or stop?
They can, and I think that will be a heck of an uproar if they do. Because how many? You remember the old song? I want my MTV. Okay, and this is going to be kind of the same thing.
Google Plus.
Wait,
anyway.
Google Plus? What's that?
Google Plus. Kind of funny that was came out. All right, well, we got about 30 seconds left. We appreciate you watching. If you got any questions for us, Tech Shamans at WeBeamTV.com. I'm John. This is Adam. I've got this the right way because I'm looking at Adam, and this is Anthony. And we will see, hopefully, everybody next week, as long as
give or take,
we don't have a zombie apocalypse in the meantime or something like that. And remember this, eating Chinese food prepares you for the zombie apocalypse, because if your stomach can handle it now, you'll be good then. We'll see everybody next week.
See ya.
Show you. Really, man? Yeah, it's far out and technical and stuff. Alright, so, yeah. Come on and turn it on. Tune into the Tech Shamans. Come on and turn it on. Tune into the Tech Shamans. Come on and turn it on. Tune into the Tech Shamans. Come on and turn it on. Tune into the Tech Shamans. Cool.